All right, let's talk about rolling out a big new tool like Slack. We're going to dive into the playbook from George Yoshida that shows you how to take something that's usually a huge, chaotic headache and turn it into a genuine success. Let's get into it. So why is it that these tools, the ones that are supposed to connect us, so often just create more chaos? You know the feeling, right? The promise is simplicity and speed, but the reality is you're juggling apps, drowning in notifications, and you feel like you're actually getting less done. It's super frustrating. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how you can actually fix it. You know, the road to a failed rollout is paved with good intentions, but usually it all goes wrong by falling into one of two really common traps. Let's look at why the usual playbook just doesn't work. Okay, trap number 1, the small-scale pilot, the good old proof of concept. And on the surface, this makes total sense, right? Let's test it with a small team before we commit. But here's the thing. This is actually one of the biggest mistakes you can make. And George Yoshida just nails why this is such a bad idea. He says, a partial implementation is, well, it's meaningless. It's actually better just to wait. And think about it. You're forcing that pilot group to live in two different worlds. They're using the new tool for some stuff, but then they have to switch back to email or the old system to talk to everybody else. It's a mess, it's inefficient, and it gives a terrible first impression of the tool. You completely miss out on the network effect, which is the whole point. All right, so if the small pilot is a bad idea, what's trap number 2? It's what you could call the feature bake-off. This is where you get a committee together and they spend ages, I'm talking weeks, maybe months, just nitpicking every single feature and comparing it to 5 other tools. But Yoshida's point is that this is a total waste of time. Why? Because you can't judge a collaboration tool in a vacuum. It's like trying to review a symphony by just looking at the sheet music for the violin. You can read about cool features like Canvas or lists all day long, but their real magic, their real value, only shows up when everyone is using them together on actual work. The value is in the collaboration, not in the features themselves. Okay, so if the pilot is a trap and the feature bake-off is a trap, what's really going on here? Well, it turns out the old playbook isn't just a little bit wrong. It's focused on the completely wrong problem. And here is the absolute key to getting this right. You have to understand that you're not just implementing a tool. You're changing your company's culture. You're changing how people talk to each other, how they share information, how they get work done. This is a culture change initiative, plain and simple. It's just disguised as a software project. And if you're changing the culture, it has to come from the top. Get a load of this number, it's pretty staggering. Yoshida says that 90% of these rollouts fail. Not because of the tech, not because the user didn't get it, not because of bad training, but because there wasn't real, committed leadership behind it. And that makes perfect sense, right? You can't change a culture half-heartedly. That let's just try it and see what happens attitude, it's basically a death sentence. As Yoshida says, you need that strong will of the top. Without leadership standing up and saying, this is how we work now, period, well, the whole thing is pretty much doomed from the start. Okay, so we've torn down the old playbook. Now let's build the new one. This is all about getting past the idea that Slack is just a chat app and really embracing it as a whole new way to operate. So here are the non-negotiables, the absolute must-have foundation. First, you've got to secure that rock-solid executive commitment we just talked about. Second, leadership has to officially declare this tool as the single source of truth. And third, this one's huge. You have to set a hard cutoff date. You say, after this date, we do not use email for internal work anymore. It sounds bold, and it is, but it's the only way to really break down those old silos and get everyone rowing in the same direction. And this really gets to the heart of the strategic shift you need to make. The old way of thinking, it's just a chat tool, DMs, a few channels, fine. But the new view, the successful view, sees it as a business hub. This is where you're not just chatting, you're integrating it with Salesforce. You're using Canvas as your go-to spot for project info. You're managing tasks with lists right where the conversation is happening. That's a total game changer. All right, I know what you might be thinking. If everything is in one place, isn't that just going to be a massive, overwhelming flood of information? And yeah, that's a legitimate fear. But the goal here isn't just to get more information. It's to optimize your attention so you can handle it. So here's your new priority list, your new workflow. First things first, stop chasing all those bold, unread channels. Your number one stop is the activity tab. That's your action list. It's where someone has directly asked for you. Once that's clear, then you check your high priority channels. And only after that, if you have time, do you scan everything else. This simple change puts you back in the driver's seat. Now, for that priority list to actually work, the entire company needs to agree on one simple, powerful rule. We're calling it the CC rule. It goes like this. If you post a message in a channel and you don't @mention someone, it's just an FYI. It's like being CC'd on an email. No one is expected to act on it. If you need someone to do something, you have to @mention them. This one little shift in etiquette can slash the noise and anxiety by like 90%. And the good news is you've got help. The tools themselves are getting smarter. You can use AI to do things like send you a daily digest of your most important channels. Or if you get pulled into a thread that's 100 messages long, you can just ask AI for a quick summary. Basically, you let the AI act like your personal assistant, sifting through all the noise so you can focus your brain power on what really matters. Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the evolving playbook look like? What are the big things you need to remember for today and for tomorrow? Look, if you walk away with just 3 things, make it these. Number 1, success is all about leadership commitment, period. Number 2, this isn't a software update. It is a culture change. And number 3, the real goal here is kind of a paradox. You want to maximize the knowledge of the whole team while at the same time protecting the focus of every single person on that team. And one last really important piece of context. Yoshida dates this advice for July 2025 for a reason. Things change. Not long ago, these tools were mostly for developers. Right now, they're business hubs. In the future, they'll evolve again. So this playbook is what works now. The real winners will be the companies that can stay flexible and adapt as the tools continue to change. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Maybe take back to your own team. Are you just updating your software? Or are you using this as a chance to actually, truly evolve your culture? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.